What is going on, everybody? It's KB. Before the episode starts, make sure you go check out StreamerSZN's brand new theme music. That's right. We have full-time, brand new theme music thanks to the newest homie and newest member of the music side of Underground Sports Philadelphia homies. That is Mobley. Stay Volk. His new single is out now. It is linked in the description on YouTube, and you'll be hearing it on audio until we can figure out if we can play it on video on StreamerSZN episodes from here on out. That's our new theme music. Stay Volk. Go download it now wherever you get your music, and go check out the music video on YouTube. But now, let's get into the episode of StreamerSZN.
Philadelphia, baby, you're gonna love it. Best sports fans in the world. Actually, the worst, but that's what makes them the best.
Alright, everyone, it's time to Scooby-Dooby-Doo and talk about the dead man. Truth, give me like a warm hug. You ready, Kyle? You ready, Father Kyle?
That, ladies and gentlemen, in your beautiful ears and on your TV screens and on your phone screens is none other than Christian Blanc.
A donut hole inside of a donut hole. It's a mystery on top of a mystery. I feel like I'm more of a Creole boat captain than Benoit Blanc. I think I'm in the wrong region of the country. However, we get the gist, folks.
A Creole boat captain.
Join us
So oddly specific.
on this fun quest.
So accurate.
Join us on this fun quest up the New York rivers as we find
So good.
who killed the Monsignor. Who killed the Monsignor and why? For we shall see in due time, my Father Kyle.
That is so good. That is so good. And if you don't get the gist already, this is a nice little StreamerSZN solo movie. It might be a movie Monday, who knows, but it is an episode solely dedicated to Knives Out, Wake Up Dead Man, the third installment of Rian Johnson's whodunit mystery movie extravaganzas, right here on StreamerSZN, the exclusive streaming platform TV and movie podcast on the Underground Sports Philadelphia Podcast Network. Actually, I said that wrong. The Underground Industries Podcast Network. Christian, KB, coming at you. I just watched Wake Up Dead Man on New Year's Day. Watched it with the fam. We've got some fun takes.
I watched it the Friday it came out.
And a lot to dive into here with the
And a lot of Scooby-Dooby-Doo.
Lots of Scooby doing. Royks Raggy.
All I know is I'm not sure we're going to be talking about. We dare talk about the musical Cats and Benoit Blanc being a musical theater nerd?
Yeah, I mean, it checks out.
We'll get into it later on.
Before we get into everything, make sure you guys are following us on the socials at StreamerSZN across the board, and on TikTok it's at StreamerSZN Pod. Subscribe to the pod on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts in audio form. Leave us a 5-star review. Christian, we haven't gone over our Spotify rap, but last year, even in a half a year of StreamerSZN, our audience increased 125% from 2024 to 2025.
Feels good.
Feels good. 21% increase in followers from last year, and an infinite percentage increase in total listening time as well. So shout out to everyone that's listening on Apple and Spotify, and we've got a fun thing for the Spotify people. If you are a Spotify user, you're going to be able to watch the show on Spotify moving forward. We have the ability to upload the show video-wise to Spotify, so that is a new feature across the board that we're going to be testing out this year, seeing how it works. It still allows you to listen audio-wise. It lets you revert back to audio, but if you want to see our faces and you're a Spotify listener and want to stay in the app, you can watch on Spotify. But also, watch on YouTube, youtube.com/@undergroundsportsphiladelphia. That is where you get full video episodes of this show, full video episodes of all of our shows here on the network, clips, shorts, live streams, original video content. We are at 1,236 subscribers right now. We hit our goals for not only hitting 1,200, but our year-end goal of 2 times. We doubled our entire subscriber count from all of 2024. So thank you to everyone.
All right, so what are we making Dylan do?
Finding his way out of the upside-down, time-slipping craziness that he has been in for 3 years?
No, surely it's been 3 years. Surely it's been 3. Two maybe, but not 3.
Last thing Dylan reviewed with us was...
Oh god!
So
Secret Invasion. It all comes back to Secret Invasion.
2023 Secret Invasion.
It all comes back to fucking Secret Invasion, guys. It all
Dylan
comes
watched
back
Secret
to
Invasion and said, "Fuck this podcast, I'm done."
Yeah.
But yeah, technically
Man.
not exactly 3 years to the date, but it has been since 2023 that Dylan has appeared on the show.
God help us.
But subscribe to the YouTube, youtube.com/@undergroundsportsphiladelphia, and we are collab featuring all of our shows now with their respective brand channels. So you can subscribe to the StreamerSZN YouTube channel, and the episodes will show up in the collaboration tab now as well. But Christian, Wake Up Dead Man. We were texting after I finished watching the movie, and I said, "Oh boy, I have some takes." To which you responded, "Oh, this makes me nervous." Because you said,
we're waiting.
kind of love this movie.
Yeah. I have my thoughts on it too. So it's a question of where do we want to start?
I mean, obviously, it's a Knives Out movie. Daniel Craig was fantastic once again. I think my big takeaway, as soon as the movie started and I saw Josh Brolin, was like, because I went in blind for this, but I saw
Congratulations.
that Josh Brolin was kind of the mainstay. I knew he was going to give a rock star performance, which he did.
Thanos?
Which my mom is she's such a delight. She had no clue that Josh Brolin was Thanos.
Oh, sweet summer child.
I was like, oh,
Margie.
I thought
Margie.
Jeremy Renner surprised me. Jeremy Renner surprised me, in a good way.
See, I feel like we've talked about this cast multiple times on this pod, but also we're talking like a year ago we were talking about the cast of this movie, so
But now, like, seeing it and seeing like what their roles played out to be, we were talking about like the cast and everything, and like we pinpointed like the casting that like really shined in this movie. But
which was, I would say, most of it.
Yeah, I thought like the main heavy hitters like did their job and knew their role, and they executed in a good way. There was just a lot of this movie that I joked with my parents. I said, you could have replaced half this cast with stick figures, and it would have been same like substance from those characters. And I'm not saying it's necessarily on the casting, it's just kind of how those roles were written, and just the disappointing's not the right word here, but for lack of a better term, the disappointment for me was like the lack of the whodunit aspect, because we've come to know Knives Out as like the murder mystery whodunit type of movie, and I love that about everything that Rian Johnson has done with these movies. And just the lack of that kind of threw me off in my viewing experience, and you could kind of pinpoint right away, at least I did, who was going to be responsible for the murder, which kind of disappointed me, but from a story perspective, like, great storytelling.
I want to jump back to a specific comment you made. What do you specifically mean by stick figures?
Like, they did nothing for me, and in my viewing experience, they didn't do anything to enhance or, like, deliver for the plot of the movie.
My counterpoint to that, though, is in a lot of these ensemble movies, especially of the murder mystery type, not every character does that much to move the plot forward. They may just be a dip of their toe in, but fundamentally, like, not everyone can be a suspect, and even then, among all the people, they may have their gripes, but you're also I bring this up specifically in the case of Kaylee Spaney as Simone. We can both collectively agree we never thought she was the killer.
Yes.
However, she, as a character in the larger scale of this film, has a broader purpose. She's someone who's seeking something different from Faith than everyone else, and ultimately she understands what she's trying as a last resort. Whereas all these other people, and we'll get into it, they are approaching religion in a fundamentally different way, and this is where I think we have our diverging parts about this, where I don't think this movie is as much about who done it as much as why done it. And the why done it stems from the larger religiosity, spirituality of this movie, which is why I think ultimately makes it the most fascinating Knives Out movie, and one that I think I may be revisiting certain scenes more than the original Knives Out, but I will watch the original Knives Out more.
Which is also why I think I didn't necessarily, like, click with the movie overall, because I'm the least religious person ever, and a lot of, like, religion stuff just, like, doesn't connect for me.
Yeah, so
which, like, growing up Catholic, like, I obviously know the ins and outs of, like, everything, but, like, as I got older, like, I don't practice Catholicism. I'm not religious, so, like, a lot of it is just, like, that, oh, here we go type thing. But, like, I thought they did a great story portrayal, but from a, like, connection standpoint for me, like, the plot and, like, the overall, like, theme of the movie didn't really gravitate me in because of what it was. And I don't even think Kaylee Spaney was, like, one of those people who I would say replaced them with a stick figure. Like,
we will talk about the one specific character because there is two people I would say they could replace with a stick figure, and it's like, okay, that. I'll be interested to see your third. Okay, I have a guess at your third, but we'll get that later in the pod. I want to circle back on your point about not being religious. I'm not religious really at all. Like, I'm a lapsed Catholic who only goes to only goes to church on Christmas Eve because we go to that side of the family, and that's part of tradition. Um, but I do have an inherent level of spirituality in terms of the broader sense of the world and connection and purpose that doesn't necessarily tie to religion as much as the broader community and historical aspect of society, if that makes any sense at all. It's more of a cultural abstract, I think would be a good way to phrase it. So I don't think the right way to, like, you are clearly taking this as like straight religion, whereas I
don't
view
even
this.
think I was taking it straight religion. It was just like early on in the movie, it took a while for me to like jump in. Like the early, I don't know if you felt this way just early on in the movie. Like the first act was kind of a bore to me, and it took a while to like ramp up to be like feeling intrigued.
I mean, I would, if we're being honest, the first act sets the table. It introduces the cast of characters, but it does it in an interesting way, in terms of we aren't being told this in real time. We're being told this in a letter that Father Judd wrote.
Mm-hmm.
But more so trying to get to the point I was going to make, and then we can get into a more linear conversation about this movie. This movie is, and I've kind of said this already. It's not about religion itself, but it's the quandary and the moral state that religion puts us in with I would say, the three central church figures in this movie in terms of Jefferson Wicks, Martha, and Judd. And each of them view religion in a similar but different way, and then then obviously obviously Daryl McCormick as Cy is a fundamentally 21st century version of it, as we'll get into. But the heart of this movie, to me, it lies in that triumvirate of people and their internal struggles and feelings that play out throughout the movie, and I would say probably a large part of why the first act doesn't fully jive for you is, spoiler, Benoit Blanc's not the lead of this movie.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I find Josh O'Connor a great actor, and I think that doesn't matter at all because I think he does a stupendous job.
Yeah, that was, I'm pretty sure, my first introduction to him, honestly.
You weren't part of Challengers Mania, brother?
No, I was not.
Alright, we gotta get you to watch
that was a movie that did not speak to me at all.
You're telling me you didn't watch a love triangle between Josh O'Connor, Zendaya, and Mike Feist? Our Broadway boy Mike Feist?
I did not.
Shame.
Did not intrigue me. I was one of the few, if not the only.
Alright, let's break this down.
But yeah, I mean, the first act, we get our good personal friend, Jeffrey Wright, which I was...
Friend of the pod.
I was kind of bummed that we didn't get more Jeffrey Wright in his role.
So
because I thought he was sensational with more.
Sure, I'm jokingly, because this is roughly 2 films now, Ryan Johnson has like 2 minutes or less per person in the last two films, where in the prior film it was Ethan Hawke showing up, shooting people with a COVID thing, and then leaving. And now we have Jeffrey Wright for a few scenes. And yes, it is jarring to have him here and then gone, but also he's perfect in the time he's there.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm
perfectly cast.
Yeah, no. I he couldn't have played Wicks because I don't think you feel that that malignance out of him in really any part of his roles.
Yeah.
And
when he popped
and
up, I was like the Peter Griffin meme. I was like, "That's my friend."
That's your friend, yeah. I do want to touch on one thing where, there's a long history in film of boxers becoming priests, and I feel that it's an interesting through line to bring up here, specifically, because when we want to talk about an athlete, I do think a boxer inherently has the potential for like the biggest moral quandary, because you could literally be fighting for your life, and you kind of are, and getting out of that and finding God feels like it's cliche at this point, but I find it one of the more interesting character situations in the religious character sphere of movies. And as we're sitting here, I do want to talk about the Father Judd quote about a priest being a shepherd in the world of wolves, because I feel like this is a statement on the entire film and just on modern Catholicism in general, where Father Judd says, you start fighting wolves, and before you know it, everyone you don't understand is a wolf. I feel like that's just an indictment of culture at this point, and that in the dynamic between Father Judd and Monsignor Wicks, you are getting the two sides of that coin, where you are getting the priest fighting the wolf world, and you have the guy who is going, no, these people are not wolves. And yeah, I want to break this down further as we go into the film, but there's a specific idea called the kind of two branches, where it's the shepherd and the hireling, and Father Judd and Monsignor Wicks represent really the two dynamic opposite, where the shepherd is very much about the people and caring, whereas the hireling is about the power and the status, which when we're introduced to Monsignor Wicks, he ultimately says that he basically became a priest because he loved looking at the influence his father had, looking at the influence he had over people. So we already know he's a priest for the entirely wrong reasons. He's a priest because of the power, and not because of the people and because of what he can do to help them. And that dynamic is fully apparent when he walks into the church, and he goes, "Are you here to take my church?" "No." "Okay then," and then gives the most deranged confession you will ever watch.
That confession scene was hysterical for a number of reasons. One, just because of who Josh Brolin is, and just being like, this is just perfect. But then just like the ultimate zing ender of it all.
Shake my hand.
Handshake.
and just the long pause of like, do I shake his hand? Do I shake his hand?
It was perfect.
And two things on that. One, envying Alexis. We couldn't aim higher. We couldn't aim higher than Alexis. And two, just the fact that when Father Judd gets into his room, and there's the magazine of the type he was talking about in the bedside drawer, I'm just like, oh no, no.
Poor magazine.
One thing I knew I do say I don't think I've ever seen a priest that looks like a priest that looks like Brolin, like one that just looks like he has walked out of the woods after being lost for 6 years.
Yes.
Just like
he looked like the living embodiment of St. Augustine Prep's mascot. A literal hermit.
I'm sorry for all the people who aren't from New Jersey who don't get that reference.
Yeah, they're global enough with sports.
Are we sure about that? Anyway, and then I would before we progress further, let's just talk about the elite lineage of church names in movies. So, this church is called Our Lady of Perpetual Fortitude. This has been a fun year for church names because one battle after another. The convent / church they go to is in the movie it is called it's called the Church of the Blessed Beaver. Which I've got to get you to watch that movie. And then in the first Naked Gun movie, I think Leslie Nielsen calls the church the what was that? Our Lady of the Worthless Miracle. And so it's I just appreciate it for them having a fun church name and not like Saint Peter's of Wissahickon. and then our first like real monologue about Martha. Father Judd said, she knew where the bodies were buried. Oh, brother, did she?
Oh, did she?
All right.
Did she ever?
Kyle, do you want kids to paint rocket ships on your tombstone?
Those were some mighty. What's the word I'm looking for? Red
sausages?
Chips? There were some red rocket ships. That was so goddamn funny. It was the fun like tropes about religion and like churches and stuff and all the sex jokes were pretty spot on in the early go of the entire film, which I was not shocked that Rian Johnson like had the stones to go there, but it was just funny seeing it all like materialize the way that it did.
Ryan goes plenty of places, and I'm sure, and I'm sure we'll talk about probably our favorite thing in the entire movie later on.
Where do we want to move to?
Let's be. No, we'll talk about Glenn Close at the end. We'll talk about Glenn Close at the end. Do we want to talk about Blanc's introduction to the movie in terms of him arriving at the church?
Yeah, let's do it.
Because, I love when people just let Daniel Craig cook. Benoit Blanc is one of the great monologue characters just in franchise filmmaking, and it feels weird to call Knives Out a franchise. I feel like series is a better phrase. But the way Father Judd gets him to be like being polite and commenting about the architecture, and then just goes into his atheistic diatribe about basically all the shit the church has done, and he just wants a way for the church to he wants the way to be able to be in a church and be able to just deal with a clean truth that isn't being manipulated and such. Mm-hmm. And it's such a it clearly illustrates one modern viewpoint of Catholicism that is ever growingly mainstream, but also I find it, the way he phrases it is both very eloquent and searing at the same time without feeling inaccessible, which I feel like if written and spoken the wrong way could have felt very high and mighty.
Yeah, I think in all three Knives Out movies, they've done just a damn near seamless job. You know, just trying to remember back to each one prior to this, but just the introduction of Daniel Craig in each movie just felt perfect for the moment for each movie.
Yeah, I mean the first movie was him just kind of sitting there and pressing piano keys on moments. The second one, I will technically call the proper instruction him playing Among Us in the bathtub with Stephen Sondheim, Angela Lansbury, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
It's so good.
It's so fun. It's so fun. And then here, we get him walking into a church seemingly nonchalantly. It's like, okay, what's going on here, buddy? Like you don't just wander into a church.
I also wanted to bring this up, as we say, save it for the pod, because I liked the character choice. How did we feel about long hair, bearded Benoit Blanc?
So the story behind that was Daniel Craig had just growing out his hair for no reason, and Rian Johnson, who was just like, "Can I just not cut my hair?" And he was like, "Sure." I like Daniel Craig with the long hair. Mm-hmm. Facial hair feels kind of needed on some level with the long hair to make it fully jive. But Daniel Craig's still a very handsome motherfucker.
Yes. And I thought, like, that character choice played for this particular Knives Out movie. Where, like, Glass Onion, you're on the island, like, you want to look a little more, like, vacation-y and everything.
Well, no, I would say the better thing in this is that we should watch Blanc's wardrobe more, because in Glass Onion he's like wearing the linen pants and shit. It's just like,
Scott.
yeah, it is truly S tier shit. And in here it's like a fucking tweed suit. I'm just like, oh my god, it looks comfy as fuck.
That is a good point. We should look at his wardrobe more.
Now, after Blanc speaks, I want to bring up stick figure number 1.
Okay.
Mila Kunis.
Yes.
So bad.
Bad.
So she, like she's playing it so straight. Like, girl, you're playing it way too fucking straight.
Yeah.
Keith Stanfield in the first movie understood the assignment. Mm-hmm. You gotta be a little camp. You can't be a straight no bullshit cop. Like, no, this entire movie is bullshit. If you're dealing with Benoit Blanc, bullshit is afoot. Stop it. Mm-hmm. Get help.
Yep. That was one of my biggest takeaways was, like, Mila Kunis was so miscast. And it made me wish we had that, like you said, like a Keith Stanfield, more someone who understood the assignment type. I don't know who that would have been, but
I mean,
I felt so out of place the entire time she was on screen.
I mean, and this is just a pull from a similar show. Like, what if you just, like, I would argue, and pardon me for just not remembering them. Who was the red-haired woman in that 70s show?
Who plays? What is her?
I don't remember the actress name, but, like, I feel like she would understand she would understand the assignment.
I know her that 70s show name. It's Donna.
Yeah, Donna. Oh, speak of people.
Laura Prepon.
Yeah,
that's a good call. Yeah.
You just need someone who, like, understands how to interact with someone who's very banter heavy, mm-hmm. and she just doesn't. Yeah. She just doesn't, and it's just so flat. It's such a flat performance that I'm like, no, what are we doing here?
I feel like she would have been better if they were going to use Mila Kunis in a different. She would have been better as somebody in the congregation.
Like you could literally have her be like Kaylee Spaney, and there's no mm-hmm. drop off. Like if you literally swap those two, I think this is a much better movie. Even though I think we cackle at like 5'2" Kaylee Spaney in a gigantic trooper hat. But I digress.
Yes. Mila Kunis was like a negative nothing burger for me in this movie.
Something Masterson something anyway.
Masterson something anyway.
So we start to rank through the cast. We get the introduction to Martha. We'll talk more about Martha later on. We get introduced to Kerry Washington, who is playing who is playing Vera Draven, and we are introduced to Daryl McCormick, who's playing Cy Draven. Is Kerry Washington one of the stick people? So I think she's the closest of the three to being an actual character because she gets actual scenes. She's one where I don't know if she's pitched right for this movie, but I at least think she does a solid enough job to where I'm like, like I'm fine with this.
Yeah, like she didn't negatively impact,
But she didn't.
but she didn't enhance.
She also has the problem where it's even when she has rage, it doesn't feel like proper rage.
Yeah.
Like when they're in that meeting all around and Wix is dressing everyone down, her rage doesn't feel like it has punch in it. It's a limp body blow to the stomach, while Wix is just like chest, face, uppercut, knock down. And yet, and then on the counterpoint, Daryl McCormick fully understood the assignment. Cy Draven, I think, is for the lack of a better phrase, the modern social media conservative. The full on bit of him talking to Father Judd and basically like, I was the GOP golden boy. I guess I had everything. I guess I just couldn't connect. And then he lists off literally everything under the sun that he tried, including the two that I love the most, 5G and induction stoves, which he's a husk of a human being. Like and as we see as the film goes on, and again, this is an indictment of modern conservative politics. They don't actually care about religion. They just use it as a means to an end.
Right.
And Cy Draven is the ultimate embodiment of that.
He's somebody, the actual actor, Daryl McCormick, that I would like to see in more things.
Yeah. No,
Because obviously he's super young. He's my age. He's 32. He'll be 33 this month.
Okay, boomer. Anyway.
But he has a couple things upcoming. Rogue Trooper, he's a voice actor, and then I See Buildings Fall Like Lightning. He's in that is currently filmed.
Two small British things. But more importantly, he's in I believe the Netflix adaptation of Pride and Prejudice.
Yes.
As Mr. Bingley. If people want to see a fun little two-hander with him, I believe it's streaming on Hulu. Go watch Good Luck to Leo Grand, which is a movie with the illustrious Emma Thompson and him, where Emma Thompson plays this older woman who kind of, her life is in a mess, but she's doing very well. And Daryl McCormick basically plays a male escort. And what it turns into is the two are having like very philosophical conversations. And this is something that they keep going on for multiple weeks. And I think it's a good show of the opposite side of Daryl McCormick, where, by the way, guys, he's Irish. You couldn't tell. But he has a good depth to him, and I hope Wake Up Dead Man allows him to get into more. I feel bad for saying American projects, but like just get him into more movies that reach America and more products that reach America in general.
Yeah. I liked his just on-screen presence too. Like he came across like as somebody that you wanted like to have more of as the movie went on, and I would like to have more of him just in many things. I don't know what those things are, but I feel like he is somebody that is an on the rise, like should be cast in a lot more things.
Yeah. And I think we may as well, while we're here, talk about unfortunately, I don't know if it's the worst casting choice in the movie, because I think Mila Kunis does it to a bigger detriment, but the the man with a mostly metaphorical moat around his house, Andrew Scott.
Terrible.
like like I get the idea. I would prefer to see, and now that this maybe scandalous, but like him as either Nat Sharp or Monsignor Wicks was probably the better two places to have him. Where I just feel like he's not doing much here, and when he's doing that, it feels weird having him be a jilted author who just is really kind of like, why are you saying the shit you were saying? Like, and I don't know if it's fully his fault, but like he has some really awkward dialect where it's like, why is this guy in his 40s speaking like he's like a 32-year-old?
Yeah, he did nothing for me. Like, as the entire movie was like continuing to go on, I was just like, why is he here and what does he do? It really like did nothing for him. Like you said, Kerry Washington at least like gave a little bit more than the other two kind of nothing burger stick figure characters, but those were my three that I was just like, oof.
And then we really have two people left to talk about. We have Jeremy Renner as Nat Sharp, which he's kind of a nothing burger until the third act.
Yeah.
Though I will say, losing your wife to a guy from a fish message board is quite funny.
Yes.
And it's even funnier that someone of Josh O'Connor's age asks Fish the band. like the only reason I know about Fish the band is because I worked at a concert venue, and we were warned about the Fish concert because it's a bunch of middle-aged people getting high on grass in the grass.
The devil's lettuce.
The devil's lettuce.
So like he has the most thinly veiled motivation, I think. Like he could have used a better like motivating part, but probably the last main player aside from Glenn Close, who we'll just talk about her at the end, Thomas Hayden Church. Which I hadn't seen Thomas Hayden Church literally since I watched Sideways last year. And I'm like, that's Thomas Hayden Church? And again, he kind of feels underserved in this movie. But I also think does exactly what he's supposed to do. Where he's this kind of figure who's like not fully like a psycho church guy, but he's there because it's helped him out of a rough time. Like he's the Father Judd Mirror, where he's a guy who's having horrific bouts of alcoholism. He got to the church, and Monsignor Wicks, he seems to be the only person helped by Monsignor Wicks, and Monsignor Wicks seemingly doesn't care, but he's the only guy who really it was Father Judd who said that he is the only good person at this church, and I would say, based on what we see, that's fundamentally true.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm looking back at just because, like you said, it felt like it's been a while since I've seen Thomas Hayden Church, and
it's been a while.
It's been a while. My last time I think was Spider-Man: No Way Home.
Oh right, yeah, he was Sand Guy.
Right, Saint Man. And then I was just scrolling down. I had no idea he was in Tires with Shane Gillis.
What do we want to talk about in terms of the second act, in terms of the build-up of the build-up of Monsignor Wicks and the growing clash between him and Father Judge, which then sets up the back half of the movie?
Yeah, I mean, you get the death and everything, which, again, not that I was, like, onto it, but I knew, who we'll talk about, Glenn Close was involved from the very beginning because they lay it out for you that she knows everything and anything. So the fact that that was, like, there for you kind of was like, she's going to be involved somehow. And then the just the way that they are trying to force Father Judd out and trying to pin this on him, and that is like the mob mentality of the mainstay members of the church was pretty, like, not stereotypical is not the right word, but it was like pretty on point for what you get from organized religion.
Yes, but
an outsider comes in and they don't conform to what you have come to know your beliefs and everything to be. So I like that aspect.
What you're speaking of is like the long indoctrinated version of organized religion, specifically Catholicism in the U.S. Whereas, again, this is the battle of shepherd and hireling, where Josh O'Connor is the one who is the true practitioner of Catholicism.
Yes.
And you have basically the power hungry familial inherited priest who's only doing it because of his influence, and every new person who comes in that isn't under his influence is arguably worse for him, because if he doesn't break through on them immediately, they just stand in his way, essentially. And sure, we can call the death underwhelming, but also, I would say, it's also the least visually interesting, yet it's the most interesting in terms of, okay, how was this done then? Which I enjoy the bit of a of a knife throwing robot that they just keep bringing up, and the fact that the plot was stolen from Oprah. Yes. Just them bring Oprah into this for that small funny moment, I really enjoyed.
Yeah, Oprah being Knives Out canon feels like something that we're going to eventually actually see Oprah in these movies.
Kyle Tucker on the Chicago Cubs is Knives Out canon.
Wait.
Thomas Hayden Church is watching Cubs games. And in one of the games, it's Kyle Tucker up at someone did a whole social media post breaking down the 3 games that ended up appearing on that TV in Knives Out, where I think 2 of them were from 2024 and 1 was from 2025.
Kyle Tucker. That's going to be part of his next Major League Baseball contract, because he's got to be cast in a Knives Out.
Yeah, true. Mechanics of the Kill, Chekhov's Lazarus Door, which we'll get to, but I first want to talk about, because obviously we talked about the Father Wicks ripping everyone a new one, and Cy being my illegitimate son. Yada yada yada. I want to talk about Father Judd on the phone with the construction lady.
Okay.
Because while this scene is the most like and there's been a lot of people talking about this, it is the most tonally misaligned with the rest of this movie. But I also think like it's the most pure version of religion on screen.
Mm-hmm.
Just in terms of what it can be and what it can provide, and brings us back after the kooky moments into the Father Judd, Glenn Close triangle of the religious quandary and belief. And I just find, and it's exceptionally well acted, and you can feel the weight of it in a good way. Where you have these conversations with yourself, and you have these questions for us. It's probably tied to our grandparents, right? And it just really grounds you in the sense of like, fuck, like you feel the pain. You feel the pain so much. And while it feels a little out of place, it is exceptional writing and just exceptional acting.
Yeah, I agree with. It did feel out of place, but it worked all at the same time.
Yes, it's out of place in a good way in terms of it reminding you that even though death has happened in this movie and we're kind of trivializing it, like there is a weight on this for people who it actually matters for. And Father Judd having his crisis of faith, wandering from the church into the woods, him being like, I must have done this thing. I've got to turn myself in, even though it's going to cost me everything I have done, because it's just weighing down on me. And then Lazarus arises, but during that argument with Blanc, when you saw the lantern in the background, what was your thought? All the way across.
Say that again for me. I'm sorry.
So when he and Blanc are walking and having that argument, they end up in that clearing, which is stupendous filmmaking in terms of he walks through it multiple times. It's a great venue for almost like stepping between the two sides of things, where one side has the church and the other side has like the rectory house, and it's really like traveling between two worlds, and you have this clear line of tree line dividing. There's some good some symbology there, which haven't had the time to mine, but I really like it. And they're basically arguing on two different ends, and then you see someone in the far with a lantern walk across, who you would think is Thomas Hayden Church, who. Mm-hmm. But as we will later learn, brilliantly, it's not. And I feel like it's such a great whodunit moment where you see that lantern and you're like, that should be Samson, but I don't think that's Samson.
Mm-hmm. That's where I was like pulled really in. Was like, oh, here's the like murder mystery aspect, and it like kept unraveling itself as the movie progressed, with like more and more intrigue from that point of view. And as the movie went on, the more I felt myself like being like pulled in and more layers being pulled back. That's when I was like, oh, there's a lot to this.
Yeah.
And there was just so many like twists and turns that we'll talk about as well, but I was just like, there's to pull a Shrek quote, there's onions have layers, ogres have layers, Wake Up Dead Man has layers.
All right. And so
that was like where I like really got sucked back in.
yeah, and so then from here, Father Judd sees Monsignor Wick supposedly rise from the dead, and then he chases him down the hill to hopefully save Samson. And then he wakes up and he sees Samson's dead, and he runs off into the woods. And after a moral quandary, tries to turn himself in, but we'll get back to that in a second. And then everyone sees the news of this and is full Jesus mode kicks in. He's like, "Oh my God, he's a prophet! He's a prophet!" Yeah. And of course, first one on the scene, Glenn Close. We'll talk about it in a minute. This was a good use of like bringing in true character motivation stuff, whereas like Andrew Scott's just like there because like Daryl McCormick is there because he's like content. I can manipulate this. Glenn Close is there for reasons we will talk about, and this is where I like the Kaylee Spaney of it because she was at the church because she needed something to believe in, to hope that she could get better. And this Wicks thing, if it was true, would be a theoretical sign to her. And so her getting there and her just heartbreakingly being like, is it true? Is it true? Is it true? Again, it's to me it's like a very strong testament of religion in a way.
Yeah, and that's where like I felt her character went from I was borderline like what is her purpose to okay, this is working, like well done. And it was one of those things where like was she was like one of those characters that you brought up, like they didn't necessarily have to be a focal point, but they dipped their toe just enough in the water that it worked.
Okay, and so then Benoit Blanc invests in the crypt, goes scuba doo. And then they end up back in the police station where they investigate the video. And then Father Judd just casually walks into the station, and Blanc sees and quickly ushers him to his car, in which he has a Cats soundtrack playing. Which I would just like to talk. Let us quickly step into Benoit Blanc, musical theater fan, where in the first movie, as the ambulance is pulling up to the building where Ana de Armas found the... I don't know the right term for that one because I don't know if maid's the right word, but whatever. He's singing a song from the Stephen Sondheim musical Follies. Mm-hmm. So he's listening to the Cats soundtrack. He's singing songs from a Stephen Sondheim musical. I'm gonna make this pitch now. We need a murder at a West End musical to get Benoit Blanc to get Benoit Blanc into the theater world in the next Knives Out movie.
That would be very fun.
It would be a lot of fun. But I love the small little bits of Blanc character development. And then we end up going to Nat Sharp's house. Nat Sharp, found dead, choked seemingly by Jefferson Wicks in acid. By the way, yeah.
That was my moment where I was like, where the fuck is this movie taking us?
Yeah, no. Given he's dead now, we kind of talk about it. Jeremy Renner got like one scene.
Yeah.
And there was the scene in a bar where he's just kind of an upset guy playing stuff on his phone. Mm-hmm. And but he left his bag at the counter so people could see his. We'll circle back to when we get to this grand reveal part. Father Judd insists on turning himself in. He wants to go to the church to confess and everything because religion, church, etc. He starts. Blanc goes, I'm still doing musical theater. I'm playing Phantom of the Opera. But he notably only plays the amount needed to not avoid having to pay for using Phantom of the Opera, and just the sheer loudness of that organ, just a da 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 da. Sorry, I need you to stop talking.
We laughed out loud. My entire family were watching it. And I thought my mom was gonna have to have us pause the movie to take a bathroom break because she was laughing so hard.
Choosing Phantom of the Opera is the best thing ever
So
because everyone knows it. Everyone knows it, and it's kind of appropriate because like playing the organ, and I remember if he's playing it at a church or in a music venue. But then him trying to stop Father Judd and then going up to the pulpit and just him loudly proclaiming, everyone just like sits down, and everyone gives him gives him the attention as if he's God. And Josh goes like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And Daniel Craig's like, "I don't know." And then we proceed to get the breakdown of the death, where if we just want to run through it, Dr. Nat stabbed Monsignor Wicks using a blade inserted in one of the two devil heads taken from the bar, which now we circle back to the photo, which Josh O'Connor did not see the right thing, but I also think none of us saw the right thing in that case. Like it's a great moment of like, oh, one devil head's missing and there's a bag there, but why is that bag there? And then she's like, no, Blanc saw the other devil head all the way down the bar, also missing. Mm-hmm. And the fact it's like woven onto the garments, and then distractions to then complete the task, which we never talked about. Monsignor Wicks coming out of the confessional looking stunned, and then Glenn Close coming out, and I'm sure everyone's mind, what the happened in here? But then all that happens, and then Blanc is asked to explain the resurrection, and what this movie has done great inside the church the entire time, the lighting.
Mm-hmm. Lighting matters, folks.
Lighting matters, and the ability to then use it as like moments of not having ideas and then getting ideas, and when Blanc trying to solve it, and he ultimately acts not to solve it publicly, and invokes the road to Damascus, which Father Judd had already brought up, which I had to pull up, which a specific thing in the road to Damascus is a blinding light, which he experiences. And so thus everyone's like, okay, Dr. Nat killed him, but what about all of this other stuff? And then we get the reveal, as everyone's left the thing, as Blanc is basically saying, I'm taking the axe on this so the real person can come through, and in walks Glenn Close. Which I want to invoke the road to Damascus on this, because basically 3 characters in this movie have a road to Damascus moment, where it's Father Judd realizing like, yes, I am made to be a priest, and I will do this my way, even as I'm being trialed by him. Blanc going, there's no benefit in saying this stuff out loud. but also I don't have enough evidence to point to. And then Martha, played by Glenn Close, in what is an amazing performance, realizes that Blanc doing this was so that she didn't have to admit in front of everyone and ruin the image of the church fully, even though it would eventually come out. But for her to make that radical change, and for Blanc to realize that was needed, and we get her to come in, and we get her to what else do you do in a church? Give confession, which it's kind of on the nose, but I kind of love it.
Yeah.
And so you get her explaining how really the whole reason behind this church and everything, the harlot whore, she is the reason. She, in her misguided sense of religion, in what she thought her original purpose was, in this moment, in her road to Damascus moment, realizes that she was causing more harm than good. She ultimately was the person who helped create this situation. She helped make Wicks the way he was, and her effort to try and correct this after her own blunder is what put everyone in this situation. And ultimately, it cost her basically someone she loved in Samson, because she had to rely on other people to do their jobs, and all these other immensely flawed people in this flock don't fully go along with the plan. They try to poison her. They try to do all these things. And she, even though she's not directly the murderer, the weight of everything falls onto her because Father Nat wouldn't do this on his own. She's the manipulator. She's the one whose whole life has been this church. And she did not want to see this church fall. And even though if Wicks had left and Father Judd took over, to her, that's her losing the church. And you get this portrait of someone who has spent their whole life in this one institution and wholeheartedly believes, to the point where everything they do is warped around it. Even in a twisted sense, it's such a good showing of a certain strain of people in Catholicism that I feel like is the most true. And these are people who are very much well-intentioned, but they've warped themselves in such ways to where they are actually part of the problem.
Yeah. I thought Glenn Close was the star of... Like, Brolin was great, but I thought Glenn Close, just as the movie progressed, and it was very funny, as we were watching it, my mom, like, towards the end, my mom goes, she looks horrible. She's gotten worse and worse as the movie's gone on, and then obviously it comes out why. But it was just funny to me that, like, the pure ignorance that my mom had from that obviously occurring was very funny in the moment. But I thought Glenn Close was the star, which I have a question for you once we finish wrapping the whole movie. She delivered a performance that was just stellar.
Yeah. Like, it is the second or third best performance in the movie. In my opinion, because she's the inverse of Father Judd, where she has to ham it up, whereas he has to be the more brooding, quiet. I'm not fully sure of myself. And then you obviously have Blanc there just being Foghorn Leghorn, I say, religion, it's scandalous, it's tough pill to swallow. Anyway. And then as she dies after having taken the poison, and Father Judd gives her her last rites, essentially, it's revealed that she sells the diamond. And Blanc and Judd exchanging looks and just going, "What are we doing?" And Blanc just being like, "Oh, I'm not here. I'm I'm not here." And then it cuts to a year later, with Cy, the grifter, looking for his stuff. And even though they've combed the entire thing, they can't find it. And what I feel like is a very apropos ending, he has built the diamond, which reminded me, it's the he built Eve's apple into the crucifix at the heart of the church, where this symbol of God and creation is at the heart of this new church, which I think is a fun piece of symbology. And also shout out to Jeffrey Wright for calling Cy a punk ass bitch.
That was perfect delivery.
Like
My friend.
Be between Jeffrey Wright in the first scene being like, yeah, we're all happy you punched that deacon, to calling Cy a punk ass bitch as he's driving off and he's like fucking Dodge Charger. I'm like, oh my god, like it is the whole thing where it's like, would we have liked more of him? Yes, but like, would this movie have been better with more of him? Probably not.
I also think it would be a fascinating like role reversal to see Jeffrey Wright as the Monsignor.
I don't think he has that level of like brooding cynicism in him, and like we get a sense of stuff like that in The Last of Us, but I also think that's just more cynical rather than the like Monsignor looks like almost angry at the world. So
I also got a good chuckle just mentally when Jeremy Renner's in the acid bath and the Monsignor's like laying over. I was like, oh, Thanos got him.
Thanos finally killed Hawkeye.
I was like, there's something about Thanos killing Hawkeye right now, and Jeffrey Wright's watching it all from the cosmos.
But to kind of cap this off about my general thoughts on this movie, this is a movie that ultimately isn't as interested in the mystery of who done it as much as why done it. And I feel like the first Knives Out movie is very much who done it and why done it, and it's basically all centered in this one house. For better or worse, because everyone's stuck in this one house. And then the second Knives Out film, they're all stuck on this one island, but everything feels so jolted and disjointed. I would say probably because, spoiler alert, the real murder happened however many months prior to them all being on said island. And so you're trying to Agatha Christie month-old news.
Yeah.
And then we end up here where it's kind of an in-between where it's like not everyone is in the church the entire time. However, it's a great setting for a murder mystery. it's one that adds interesting layers to it that makes more characters seem complex and messes with motivations more. And I think this beats so many base level murder mystery films because even though it's not the most interesting of who did it with the what in the where, to me the why is almost as important as the who in these films, and the depth of the why and just the quandary of these 3-4 characters at the center of it, and the different strands and the intersection of religion in American culture is fascinating and is ultimately, I think, a more interesting societal examination than most of these murder mystery films will do, because most of these murder mystery films are rich people in fighting, and one of them kills each other, whereas this is like very much like a differing intersections of class. And Rian Johnson can do political commentary, but it's typically can be very heavy-handed. See Glass Onion, where he's just like billionaires, rich people, and we're just like, yeah, like, but you're trying too hard. Though there is one piece of commentary in this movie we forgot to mention, which was Rian Johnson dressing down the entirety of the Star Wars fandom, where Sai, the conservative misreader of all misreaders, explaining his gambit with his illegitimate father to bring him to power, and Josh O'Connor goes like in Star Wars, and Sai compares them to the rebels.
Which my dad got a great chuckle out of that.
Guys, you're not the good guys. You're not the good guys. And he wasn't referring to you as the good guys, because you were talking father-son, buddy. And there's only one father-son in Star Wars.
Yeah, that was good. I had a question just from a performance standpoint. Based on
BB.
Okay, yeah.
BB. How much do you think Rian Johnson hates Star Wars fans for what they've done to him? Because that jab's not in there. Like that's on purpose. That's so on purpose. It hurts.
So at the time of the release, we're 8 years removed from his Star Wars movie. I don't know if it's... I'd say it's like a 8.1 out of 10 on the hatred scale.
Okay.
I think if you asked me that 4 years ago, I would have said like a 9.4.
Yeah.
But I think as time goes on, he just doesn't give a shit and will let his mind be said about how he feels about things in the ways that he does them, a la in this movie.
Okay. Anyway, to your question.
Yeah, so I had a fun question as I finished the movie last night and then just pondered on some things. Glenn Close, I thought, was amazing. Where do you rank her performance? I know you said second or third in this movie, but in the entirety of like the Knives Out franchise, where do you think she falls in character performance?
Giving up Glass Onion. I think she clears everyone in Glass Onion, which I feel sad to say, because as much as I wanted Leslie Odom Jr. to be really fun in that movie, and excluding Blanc from this conversation,
Correct.
of the non-Blanc, non-sidekick division, because I'm also taking out Ana de Armas for this sake, which, to be fair, I think it's more interesting performance than Ana de Armas. I think of the suspects, Chris Evans is still number one with a bullet. But I also weirdly find, I don't know, I Christopher Plummer's also great in that first movie.
Yeah.
Like I would put those two over Glenn Close, and just, yeah, I would say she probably pulls third, though I will say the combination of Michael Shannon and Don Johnson in the first movie is just real elite shit. Those two are having so much fun.
Yeah. I just think it's like one of the best Knives Out performances from Glenn Close, and it's not even close.
Blunch.
Yeah, like you said, she cleared everyone in Glass Onion, and I think like it is interesting because looking at just like the way that fans and critics rated all of these movies is fascinating to me, because right now, on Rotten Tomatoes, this being Wake Up Dead Man is the number one on the popcorn meter on Rotten Tomatoes for the three movies. It's still second on the tomato meter, but
I get it, but no.
yeah, like the first one clears.
Though it's closer than I thought it would be heading in.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, looking at Letterboxd, you guys can follow us on Letterboxd. Like, it's got a 3.8 average rating out of 7.7K fans.
Yeah. Let's give our ratings, and then I want to play a fun little game.
Sweet. And like I said, follow us on Letterboxd. Just search StreamerSZN. We're back on there. We got our login back. We're going to try to...
You got our login back.
Yes. We covered everything. So yeah, follow us on Letterboxd. You see it on the fancy layout if you're watching on YouTube or Spotify, but you can follow us there. We're going to be using Letterboxd a ton moving forward, so definitely follow us on there, and we'll have our official show ratings for all the movies and select shows that are on Letterboxd. Christian, your rating for Wake Up Dead?
I'm just going to give it a straight 8. Like, I very much thought this was a return to form for the franchise. Like, this is what I want this franchise to be. Even if I want to just maybe a little more straightforward, but the point still stands. And I am looking forward to hopefully the next Knives Out film, which most likely won't be on Netflix, guys, because Rian Johnson completed his 2-film, $400 million deal. So Knives Out could be headed to, our man took the bag to make these next two films, these last two films. So I'm looking forward to whenever we hopefully get the next one.
Where do you think they'll just go straight theater?
I mean, I want them to go straight theater because I feel like we've laid some fun breadcrumbs for Blanc.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just a matter of like, okay, we've done on an island, we've done in a church, we've done in a New England mansion. Like, you can only explore so many different things, and I feel like exploring the theater, given some of the stuff we've had, and you can spin it in a fun way. Where I've kind of developed a fun little thing where wait, hold on. Before we get that, Kyle, did you give your rating?
I have not yet.
Okay.
Um,
I have a whole combo about what we want to see from Knives Out next. So let's first let's first wrap up the rating.
I'm gonna give it a. I'm gonna go 7-8.
Not 7-8, not 6-7. Yuck. Sorry, couldn't resist. Couldn't resist.
Which, if you are new to the show, we always
7-9
to adjust our gradings. I am gonna watch this movie again, just to see if a second watch with more context for me now kind of changes things. But I'm going to give it a 7-8 on the first watch, which gives it a 7-9 overall for us so far. Like I said,
nice.
Reserve the right to change things. What would your... I saw your letterbox was a 4.
Yeah. So 8 out of 10.
Mm-hmm. Which, like, I guess 7-9 would be as close to 4.
Yeah.
As well for us. So, that'll pop up on our letterbox as well. But, yeah, I think 7-9 is pretty...
like that, yeah.
Pretty narrow.
Yeah. So, with this Knives Out in the books, where do we want to go? I have my pitch. So, it is called Curtain Call, a Knives Out mystery.
Okay.
Setting London West End. You have Daniel Craig and you have Hugh Grant. Because if you remember back to Glass Onion, domestic partner. And I don't have a good code detective at the moment, but I'm having a lot of fun with like various people we could throw in this movie because in the Ethan Hawke Jeffrey Wright 2 minutes or less cameo spot, I mean you would have to pick Andrew Lloyd Webber or Lin-Manuel Miranda as just a like you get some famous theater person to pop in for 2 minutes and then leave. Like that's fun. That would be a lot of fun. And then various people who would be part of the potential killer class. I just have a long list of very fun names here. John Sim, who Doctor Who fans would know as playing, Doctor Who fans would know as playing the Master. For all the slow horses heads, Ruth Bradley, who plays the head of the dogs. She theoretically could be like one of the police people. A fun little pick of mine, Henry Lewis. For those of you who don't know who Mischief are, they're this British comedy troupe that does stage plays and stuff. Kyle, I suggest you go on Amazon and watch an episode of The Goes Wrong Show. Basically, he's this like very, for lack of a phrase, big guy who and Mischief is a very like kind of like slapsticky mix of physical and gag humor. And so I would love to have Henry Lewis involved in somehow, similarly to Stephen Fry. Stephen Fry in a Knives Out film, just like bantering with Blanc feels fun. No?
Yeah, I could see that.
Other fun people who could banter with Blanc. Hugh Laurie. Anyone? Rich Richard E. Grant would also be a fun one. One very prominent British kind of character actor who just always kind of looks the same, but like does a lot of theater. Rory Kinnear, who you would more know in the Daniel Craig James Bond films as playing. He plays the kind of he plays the assistant to M.
Okay.
And then some other names I kind of threw in there. Tom Burke, who's like another like British character actor, is like really fun in everything that he does. He was a blast in Black Bag. Stephen Graham. I don't quite think he fits, but I was just spitballing. Kristen Scott Thomas. Gillian Anderson. And probably the goofiest one where I'm like, I don't know if this works, but I want to see it. David Tennant. Like that would David Tennant like he feels like the right version of the Andrew Scott character, where he is probably what you would want out of Andrew Scott, but you didn't get. And I was trying to think of like a British code detective, and I was just like, Andrew Garfield. I don't know, like Andrew Garfield doesn't feel fully right for it, but I was like, like
It would be
there,
fun in a Knives Out movie.
yeah, but I don't know if he's right as the code detective. Like it's a little too close to Josh O'Connor land, and I'm like,
I do have to ask, because there's one person we didn't bring up from this movie and his incredible cameo. What would your Joseph Gordon-Levitt cameo be for voice acting?
Well, so it is not only Joseph Gordon-Levitt, but the guy who owns the bar.
Mm-hmm.
He also shows up in every Knives Out film. So what I think you have to do is you have to have like Joseph Gordon-Levitt like be like the person doing like everyone take your seats, everyone
Yeah,
take
so I
your
was gonna
seats
say,
type thing.
he does that.
Yeah, and then and 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 then Noah Segan's like an usher or a stagehand in the theater. Like like this is why I think the theater would be fun, but also that being said, this entire thing kind of happened in the second or third season of Only Murders in the Building. And it was Paul Rudd who died in that. So like it's already kind of been done, but I'm also like let's get Benoit Blanc in the theater and let's have fun.
Yeah, that would be
It,
a lot of
and
fun.
and it doesn't have to be the West End. Like it could just be Broadway, but like just get him in a theater because we've already laid the breadcrumbs between like singing and listening to Muse with soundtracks and playing with Stephen Sondheim, like playing Among Us with Stephen Sondheim. Like it's there, it is there. Just go there, Ryan. Just do it. Where would you like to see them go?
I don't know where I'd like to see them go. I was scrolling Reddit just to see like some like fan casts and like some people that I would like to see, just based on some of these lists. Some people mentioned J.K. Simmons, which I think would be interesting.
Yeah.
They mentioned one of our favorite people, Aubrey Plaza.
That's who should have been the local police chief.
Yeah, yeah.
Now that being said, she kind of did a similar thing in the movie Honey Don't, which had Chris Evans in it. So I don't know if that's like overlapping a little too much.
Plaza would be good.
Sam Neill feels like he would be fun. Sam Neill of Jurassic
Bennett.
Park fame.
Okay. Some people
Dr.
mentioned Mark
Grant.
Ruffalo.
See, we're getting to the point where we're just gonna keep naming Avengers actors.
Which somebody laughed at one of the fan casts and said 0 out of 10 needs an Avengers actor, so we know who the killer will be.
Tom Hanks is the Tom Hanks and Bryan Cranston feel like both like good fits and also like maybe too big of stars. Cause like the thing with all these movies is like none of these people in these movies are like gigantic stars except for Edward Norton in the last movie, but also like that movie's also the clunkiest of the movies. So like is it a bug or is it a feature? Is a conversation to be had.
Someone said Uma Thurman.
Ooh, I like that. Like that. That's the right pitch in terms of like someone who is like a notable actress, but like maybe hasn't acted that much, and then and like you maybe try and rope in Ethan Hawke and Maya Hawke, and then you just have a full on and and then you just have a full on family intervention. Uh, um, because I watched Fackham Hall, um, maybe a Damian Lewis or maybe even just like a similar to the like 2 minutes or less spot. Jimmy Carr feels like he would maybe be fun. Like just like two minutes of wisecracking Jimmy Carr. Matthew McConaughey is too big of a star. Woody Harrelson's too big. Woody Harrelson's too big. Like you have to find the right intermediate point for these movies. Like
Someone said Charlie Day.
I've as much as I love that, I feel like that's too much chaotic energy. Now, someone who I just thought of, Coleman Domingo.
Yeah.
That like that's the right mix of like where he's not too big, but he's like very good and very game, and he's very fun and understands camp fully. Like if you watch The Running Man this year, this man can ham it up like nobody's business.
Someone said Bob Odenkirk.
That feels like it fits in the Josh Brolin mode, yeah. One that's kind of a pairing that I want to throw out, which like I don't think you could do these two in the same movie, but like they just feel like they would be fun. One of Kieran Culkin or Jesse Eisenberg.
Yes.
Like, it just feels right. John Hamm also feels like he would be a fun one to have in here, where like John Hamm is someone who very much understands camp.
That would be fun.
Like John Hamm. But I'm kind of just staring at the cast of Game Night right now. I'm like, Jason Bateman, Ray H. McAdams, Kyle Chandler, Michael C. Hall, come on down. Dexter versus Dexter versus Benoit Blanc.
Someone said Lily Gladstone.
I like her. I don't know if she can be pitched right for this.
Mm-hmm.
I tell you who I don't want anywhere near this franchise. Keep Jared Leto as far away as possible.
Yes. Someone said Margot Martindale.
Oh yeah. That's a good like career character actor who like wouldn't be pulling like a Glenn Close, but would be pulling more of like a Jamie Lee Curtis or Toni Collette
Yeah.
in the first movie. Yeah, that's Olivia Colman would be fun.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Someone said Hong Chow.
eh, I, it, again, I can see it, but I don't know if it's like pitched right. Because I watched The Roses, Andy Samberg and Kate McKinnon.
Yeah. Someone also said Brian Tyree Henry.
Brian Tyree Henry, yes. My lone worry with Andy Samberg and Kate McKinnon is like it's the Charlie Day problem, where it's like I don't know if you verge on being too camp. Um, keep Ryan Reynolds as far away as possible.
Yes.
Sam Jackson, I think, would be interesting. I don't know if he's pitched right. Like he would probably be the one who has to die. Um.
Someone said Dane
Oh.
DeHaan.
That's a cut there. Har- Harrison Ford.
Him doing press for a Knives Out movie would be all time.
No, just think of him interacting with Benoit Blanc. What the fuck are you talking about? What are you saying?
Someone said Michelle Pfeiffer.
That's kind of the Uma Thurman thing where it's like I think Uma fits better regardless of the movie. Pfeiffer can fit depending on the plot. Sophie Thatcher?
Jodie Comer.
Yeah.
I will also stick with my original pitch. Would be the spin-off of having Knives Out with the Muppets.
I mean, yeah, we would. I mean, Seth Rogen, talk to Ryan Johnson.
Please, Seth.
E-
Someone
even
also said
e-
Steve Buscemi.
that 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 just feels like a made role where he feels like he could be in the 2 minutes or less spot.
Mm-hmm.
Like um Ben Kingsley? No. He's too stiff and serious.
Willem Dafoe.
I feel like he's the step past Buscemi, where it's like I I feel like he becomes too distracting. Like like the thing with Josh Brolin is like he can kind of chameleon in and out, but he's like still kind of like the gruff Brolin. Defoe's a meme at this point, so it's like trying to be like, and Willem Dafoe. It's like I don't know about that. Like it's a little too much attention.
Adam Driver.
I think he's too big, too not too big in terms of physical size. He's plenty of big there. I think he's too highly thought of for
Is
this.
that Ryan Johnson's new Star Wars joke, though?
But see, you would also have to cast either John Boyega or Daisy Ridley then to then really make it a big fuck you.
Yeah. Isla Fisher.
Ooh. I feel like that could work, but it's similar to the Michelle Pfeiffer, though I think it has a higher hit rate than the Michelle Pfeiffer. Liam Neeson, no.
Marissa Tomei.
Yes, give me it now. Send it.
Yep.
Oh my god. Can we get Joe Pesci out of retirement and we just have them doing my cousin Vinny the entire time? Oh God. Anything else that's fun on the casting ideas? Who would be fun? Can't say Kevin Kline because he's dead. Oh man, he's old as shit, and I don't think he's acting really anymore. What are the odds of getting John Cleese to do like a quick to do a quick cameo? And anyway, I think we've pretty much covered anything. We've been talking for almost 2 hours.
That's how we do. Yeah, fun movie. I'll definitely be rewatching and all that good stuff. Like I said, follow us on Letterboxd. We're back in the saddle there. Follow us on the socials. They're all shown below as well for you on the layout. Subscribe to the pod on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts in audio form. You can now watch the show on Spotify as well from this episode forward. So be sure to leave a 5-star rating, 5-star review, all that good stuff. And subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia and StreamerSZN YouTube channels, youtube.com/@UndergroundSportsPhiladelphia, youtube.com/@StreamerSZN. And we will be back with another episode in the near future, breaking down a lot, all the latest news and notes from around the movie and TV world, talking a whole bunch of shows, movies, all that good stuff here on StreamerSZN, the exclusive streaming platform, TV and movie podcast on the Underground Industries Podcast Network. For Christian, I'm KB. We're going to go cast another Knives Out movie. But in the meantime, we'll see you on the next one.
Peace.